Welcome back to another episode of the Most Wanted Podcast, where nothing is safe from discussion. Before we start, shout out to those listening on Spotify, Breaker, Radio Public, Overcast, Pocket Cast, as well as Google Podcasts. If you're listening from Apple Podcasts, make sure you give a 5-star rating and review for the podcast. Also want to shout out those listening in on Anchor as well. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure to like and comment on the video, as well as subscribing to the channel while you're at it. You can keep up to date on information regarding the podcast via Twitter and Instagram as well. All right, so now that we have all of that introductory bullshit out of the way, bro, it's actually so annoying.
It's always so forced. You have to force it out.
I know, and that's the worst part about it. Like, I know I have to, but at the same time, it's a pain in the ass too.
Yeah.
So, as you guys can hear, this is the second part of my Project YYC series. For those of you who are new here, pretty much what I want to do with Project YYC is where I want to talk to people who are up and coming in the city and whatever their respective arts or passions are, whether it be through music, whether it be through Twitch streaming, rapping, being, an artist, literally anything. I want to talk to you, see your mindset, and go from there. And today I have one of my good friends here, Godwin, who's the host of the Everything Goes podcast. Why don't you introduce yourself, bro?
Yeah, Godwin here. I haven't done an episode for Everything Goes podcast for a while, but that's kind of been my thing for a bit, and the home here is kind of taking over for the scene. His podcast is going crazy on all platforms.
Come on, I want to say that, but appreciate the love, bro. Appreciate the love. But I want to start off first off by saying that no cap, you're actually a big inspiration for me wanting to start my own podcast. Like you. A couple people that I watch on YouTube, and one of my friends, Matab, easily one of the biggest inspirations where I was like, if they can do it, I can do it too. And I always love listening to you talk, bro. Right. I just wanted to say that off the rip. I'm a big fan of your work.
I really appreciate that. Me personally, me and my friends, we had always talked about doing a podcast, and eventually it kind of became my thing just because not everybody's comfortable with talking on platforms or having their opinion shared. So eventually I kind of took control of it. And the inspiration I got was from a buddy of mine as well, Ken. You might know him.
Yeah.
As Ken. But yeah, I really appreciate that because you as well, you are a super cool and genuine guy who always supports the podcast. So honestly, that means the world to me. It actually means a lot.
Oh yeah, I mean, bro, that's the thing, because some people in the city, I was actually talking about this with one of my buddies last night. Some people in the city really just don't push support in the city, and I'm like, why? It doesn't hurt you, and if anything, that's just giving props to the other person. That just motivates them to do more, so it never hurts to show love, and that's why I make it a point to always show love wherever I can.
Yeah, I mean, you're not really obligated to show support, but it doesn't hurt to do a retweet, a like, a share on a story. It literally takes 2 seconds out of your time, right?
Oh, absolutely. So I wanted to start off by saying, what brought you to making the Everything Goes podcast? What was your inspiration for starting it?
So it all comes from PSN calls, actually. How you be chilling in the PSN call with your homies, and it'd be super late, and y'all be talking about maybe I'll get super deep. Right? Y'all be talking about some deep shit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Can I cuss?
Nigga, come on, bro.
Okay.
I just need
to make sure.
Nah,
okay.
You good.
Okay, but yeah, we'll get into super deep talks, and we'll be like, we're pretty sure a lot of people are thinking the same thing, but we're not sure. You know what I mean? So we're like, low-key start a podcast, bro, because the shit we be talking about is fire too. It's funny as hell. So eventually, that started up. And mainly the inspiration was just to get the word out. Everything Goes podcast is just everything goes on there, just to be free and to speak your mind and go with the flow wherever. And eventually I kind of changed what I wanted to do with it. Just because as time goes on, if you want things to be more professional and to be bigger, you got to change things up a little bit. So eventually, I wouldn't say I'm out the game for now, but just for a while until the vid calms down a little bit, everybody gets their vaccines and whatnot, or as long as we can start meeting up again. That's once that happens, I'll be able to start up again, and hopefully get you on and get some good content out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, it's nowadays when it comes to podcasting, especially during Rona, like the amount of podcasts that I've seen like actually start up, bro, it's ridiculous. Like thousands of people are starting up just because it's easy and something that you can do at home, right?
Yeah, I fuck with it like heavy.
Right? It's actually so much fun to do. But the problem is like some people don't have the necessary push to really like go forward with it. Where it's like there's always that necessary hurdle where it's like, yeah, you're doing it for fun, but like, are you serious about it, kind of thing? And most people are afraid, not necessarily afraid, but like are unwilling to do that extra leap forward, to put in the extra effort, the extra time and stuff. Because doing podcasts is like, I don't want to say a lot harder, but it's more complicated than what other people think it is.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I mean, you can like, I think about it like this: you can talk all day, like with your friends if you want, and it's all normal at the end of the day. But when you hop on a podcast, it's kind of different. You need to create something for the listener to be able to maybe relate to, or to want to share this to their friends, or do this or do that. I mean, eventually you're gonna find people that you naturally just cater to. But yeah, it's not as easy as everybody may think it seems. And I'm not saying nobody should be making a podcast, but some of y'all, step up your game, just, if anything, just I think a lot of people just have like not bad personalities, but kind of boring personalities. So kind of just do something out of your comfort zone and just go with that.
Yeah, because like I'm not gonna cap, like initially I was a really shy person, but working at my family restaurant has definitely helped me change. Because I used to be really shy, but like I usually would be like me around, close friends only. But when you're working in a restaurant and talking to customers for as long as I have, almost 10 years at this point, you kind of get the feel of like, how to talk to random people, how to make small talk work. And then eventually, it leads into some deep conversations. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can apply the lessons that I learned there into the lessons that I could apply to in the podcasting. And so far it's turning out well. So
no, that's smart thinking. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty much all I got there. But, like, for you, what are the topics that you like to discuss about on the podcast? I mean, really, in the name, everything goes. But, like, but is there anything in, like, particular that you like focusing around?
I would say the thing that I love to talk about most of the time is, I like, to any women out there, don't take this to heart. But for a long time, I had an issue with women just talking about men in terrible ways, and then it took me a while to realize that there are things that men do that are not necessarily, or wouldn't be sorry, I'm fucking up right now.
Nah, take your time
There's certain things that men do that just, I wouldn't want that to be the focal point for all men. I wouldn't want that to be their reference to all men. So I was looking at it in like a negative way, and I was like, bro, why y'all like talking shit about this, blah blah blah. And that's kind of what I love to talk about, like just drama in general. I love to talk about it, like local shit, Twitter shit, Twitch, any of it, man. Just I love to talk about it and see others' opinions. At the end of the day, it's all about opinions and seeing what you can learn and take out of people's lives and perspectives.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, going back to what you said regarding women and how they view men for the most part, I felt the same way that you did at first. But like, I have a bunch of friends that are girls, and we'd always discuss about these type of things. Yeah. And they really put in a new light on what I mean, on what they feel. Because obviously they don't hate like all men, right? But it's just that there's enough men to make the vast majority of it. And I'm like, oh shit, that's a good point. And it's like, even some people that I've known have done some pretty fuck shit to girls. And I'm like, yeah, I gotta distance myself from them. And it sucks because, we used to be close, but like, I'm not gonna be the type of person that wants to associate myself with those type of people, So it's all about, enlightening yourself to new opinions, different takes from different people. And it's like all about broadening your horizons in terms of your viewpoints.
I mean, everyone can say they listen, but like, you need to really listen and understand where someone's coming from to really get it. And for a long time, I was really hard-headed, but now, I'd say I have a new a new. I've always loved women, you know. I don't.
I mean, hey, I'm not
But
going to
now I have
disagree
a
with you on that.
newfound love for them, you know. I have a
Yeah.
newfound love for them, and everyone's flaws and all of it, you know, come with the whole package because we're all humans, you know. None of us are perfect, so
Oh, absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. But I want to go to what you said with regarding Twitter and you discussing Twitter beef. 'Cause, oh my lord, I still remember.
Yeah.
I think there was a whole time where I was on Twitter where I was talking. I think I was doing like Not Home News Central type shit. Bro,
What happened? It disappeared because you know,
everyone stopped talking
calmed
beef.
down. It calmed down, bro. It calmed down. Beef ain't the thing no more, you know.
And even then, it's like I don't know. I don't want to say I matured out of it, but like it's just so I don't want to say beneath me as well, but more so just like it's just some arguments between two other people. Who am I to start instigating between them? Two random people.
Hey, I'm not gonna sit here and say, you know, but sometimes the nigga needs to instigate to spice up somebody's life, you know. maybe one time a summer, you know, one time a summer is cool.
Well, yeah, but the problem was that it was happening so often, and not only that, but it was like, why am I putting in so much energy for something that's like, it's really nothing? Like, of course it's gonna be funny, but like at the same time, it's like, it's like really, like if it's with close friends that I know of, then I have no problem instigating. People who know me know I love to talk my shit, but at the same time, it's like if it's with random strangers, who am I to just stoke an argument between them? And it's like. That's why I just kind of like relax with it. On top of that, you know, YYC Twitter has just been like really chill for like the past couple months or so.
Right.
So I'm like, I mean, what's the point, you know?
No, I feel you. I messed with it, but that's really like a grown man answer, bro. I never thought of it that way until you came at it in that way. So thank you for that, bro.
Hey, man. I mean, it's like Twitter is. Okay, well, I'm saving this for a discussion for like another day, but like my general scope of this is like Twitter is one of the funniest places that you can be in for the span of 2 weeks. Everything afterwards is the most toxic environment like on the planet. It's so fucked because it's like you could post some serious shit. It was like, yeah, my grandma passed away, and then you might get into an argument like a couple months later, and then they'll bring up your dead grandma, and I'm like,
yeah.
Lord knows I'm never posting anything about my family members who pass away, because if that's the case, I don't want my family members to be brought up in an argument that they have no relation to. I'm like,
yeah,
why?
With Twitter, you got to make those mistakes to figure that shit out, because on the internet, anybody could be who they want to be on the internet. And even myself, you know, like I can say a lot of my tweets are very out of pocket. A lot of times I'm just saying some reckless shit, and I'd say it's me IRL, yes, but at the same time it's just playing jokes. It's just, you know, to keep people entertained, or just like certain shit I have on my mind, and I'll just say, because genuinely I do not care, you know, who were to see it or what they were to think of me. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and that's like the whole point of, you know, putting out that's the whole point of Twitter, because you're just tweeting out your thoughts and, you know,
But yeah,
what
it
you're
is
talking about.
it is very toxic if not used in, you know, moderation, or you don't understand how to use it at all. You know what I mean? If you see something and you think your first instinct is to kind of get involved and to make an argument out of something, then you're letting things bother you that necessarily wouldn't matter to you, like IRL, you know?
It's ridiculous, bro. Like, and it's like the internet nowadays especially has such a large effect on people's lives, to where they're letting someone else who they don't even know harass them for, you know, an opinion that they might have. If it's a fucked up opinion where it's like, yeah, you know, blue lives matter or some shit, I give full authority to roast. Like, I don't give a shit. But like, if it's just, you know, a harmless opinion and someone's like, nah, bitch, you're wrong, and here's why, and just starts using derogatory slurs, I'm like, well, what the fuck? You're just a nobody behind the screen.
Most of the time, those people are doing it for not validation, but like, I'd say to just amuse people, you know, because at the end of the day, clout is a hell of a drug, and people will do anything for it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, I completely agree. Clout is probably one of the most dangerous shits on, like, in the planet, because if you have clout, like for example, Logan and Jake Paul have next level clout for the fucked up shit that they've done. Of course, they were on Vine and shit, and they were annoying, but, you know, it wasn't necessarily bad what they were doing. But then you see what Logan Paul did in like Japan, and it's like, well, what the fuck? And he That still gets me so
Well,
mad.
let me ask you. How do you think second chances are a thing for shit like that or no?
I believe in second chances, but like there has to be a certain extent in where you're willing to give a second chance. Cause like you can't give a second chance to someone like R. Kelly, for example. Like there's no way. Right. There's no way. So it's like, say for example, someone fucks up, right? But it's like a bad fuck up, but like not seriously detrimental kind of thing. Then yeah, of course you can forgive him. You're gonna look at him in a different light, but yeah, you can just like move on. Mm-hmm. But if it's something as bad as filming a dead body, like a hung body in Japan, it's like you should know better. Like there's no reason that you should have done that. Like of course he could have
backing on that.
Exactly. Like the fact that he saw it in his footage, because he has to have been editing. There's no way that he could have just put the entire raw footage there. So the fact that he saw it in his editing room and decided to post it intentionally for the clout, I'm like, that's disgusting behavior. There's no way. So that I can't forgive him for. I can't.
I understand. Me first, like, I don't even watch Logan Paul like that, but I understand. I know where he came from, like with Vine and everything, and obviously because these guys are famous, you can see what they're kind of doing on Twitter or when they make big headlines, and I can see that he's definitely a different person. He's not that like stupid idiot who posted that vlog or whatever he wants to call it. But I think he's handled it fairly well in a sense, and I think people should take a line out of his book, because I mean, if you were to let every single thing because think about it, there's millions of people who hate him, probably 100%.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Millions and millions of people who hate him, but he still kept going. He kept persevering, and now he has like one of the top podcasts out there on most platforms. He's making money doing this, doing that, and I'm not necessarily saying be him, but I think to persevere like he did is something kind of admirable and something that people should want to take out of his book.
I understand what you mean, because like, yeah, people do fuck up, so I can appreciate how he's handled it.
His was a big fuck up.
It was major. It was major. But like the way he's handled, the PR and moving on from it, like I would probably give him props for that, just because it's like he's handled it really well. Considering his brother Jake Paul is some fucking idiot.
Oh, that nigga gotta go, bro.
Yeah, that nigga is. Yeah. Oh my lord, I can't wait for Floyd to punch out Logan, bro. I can't wait. Oh yeah, man,
he gotta go. What you think? You think you got Mayweather win?
See, I don't watch boxing, right? So I don't know exactly, the ins and outs of it. All I know is Floyd is 50-0, and Logan deserves to get punched. That's
both facts. Both facts.
So I'm like, okay, if Floyd loses, making it the first L on his record, and on top of that, if a white man beats a black man on live TV, bro, we're all fucked.
Bro, the way Jake did Nate Robinson, it already set us back like about 100 years. So I mean, if Floyd were to lose, this would be it's definitely gonna be a white boy summer, bro. It's a white boy summer for sure.
On some Ted Hanks shit.
Yeah, I mean, Floyd is a exceptional boxer. It's just the height difference for me.
That's what I know.
The height and weight difference that'll play a big factor.
But I mean, based off of what I've read, like Floyd is a very defensive type of boxer, where he'll like wear you down over time, and especially with a bigger guy like Logan Paul, chances are he might wear himself out trying to get a few hits in early, and Floyd is probably just going to take his time to relax with it. Keep in mind, I am no boxing expert. This is just
no, you're correct logics. Though. I mean, Floyd is a defensive mastermind, and even during the KSI fight, Logan was pretty drained early on. So it all comes down to, I guess, if Logan can somehow land a big shot early, I think it's in his favor. But if Floyd plays his normal game, I think he should be good to win, even with the height difference.
I mean, shit, I'm down. I'm not going to watch it legally. Dana White can harass me all he wants. I'm not even invested in boxing, but I'm going to find an illegal stream for it. I don't care. I'm going to watch that shit.
I go to a pub, go to wherever, bro. That's going to be one of the biggest events probably of the summer. 100%.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, speaking about pubs and how COVID is affecting us, how has COVID really affected you and your podcast? Kind of going back to the main narrative here. How has COVID affected, how you record, how you handle everything about your business in terms of your podcast?
I would say I kind of gave up on the podcast for a while, just due to the fact that I wasn't able to go out and record with people anymore, and even me, I was able to sometimes record online, but at this one point I wanted to get a big group together and do this big podcast.
Right.
And I couldn't figure out the programs, and every time I would try to record, the audio would get corrupted, so it kind of got to my head just being inside and not being able to change anything about all the audio that got corrupted and everything I couldn't do. And I mean, in a way it was bad, yes, or it's still bad, but I think I learned to kind of be patient with things, and I believe that there will be a bigger comeback to come when things open up. I'm pretty sure a lot of people wanna. I already had like a couple people hit me up just to hop onto it, people I've never talked to like ever, and
Really?
there's a bunch of people that I don't know who listen to it. So
well, I mean, yeah, like you've been, as far as I know, one of the first like up and coming podcasts, like in terms of my friend group, like in the city. So you kind of laid the groundworks. Well, at least this is how I view. You kind of laid the groundworks.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I laid the. I mean, I wouldn't say I was the first, but I think I've reached corners that I haven't reached before. Because there's definitely people who are listening that I had no idea were listening to. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like when people message you out of nowhere, just saying like, "Yo, I really love your podcast," it's like maybe you could do like. And I love. The best thing I love about was when people message you saying that they love it, but on top of that, things that you could do to make it even better, like constructive criticism. Yeah. Like, obviously, you're never going to listen to someone saying, like, nah, bitch, fuck you and your family. This podcast sucks ass. I'm like, nigga, get off my timeline.
Exactly, bro. Like, it's not that serious.
Exactly. But it's like people who message you saying, like, it's really just the way that you bring it up and, like, into conversations. Like, yeah, I really enjoy your podcast, but it's like, there are maybe a couple things that you could do better. Maybe get a better mic, or like, maybe some better audio software that you could use. And I'm like, yo, thank you. I'm literally so open for advice. Like every time I post an episode, I usually ask afterwards, like, okay, how did you guys enjoy it? Is there anything that I should improve on? Anything that, that you liked, didn't like? Let me know.
And this is why I mess with you, though, because this exact thing happened with you. I remember I was pretty down because I wasn't sure on what I was doing wrong, and not necessarily in a way of like the actual content, but just I knew there were things I could have done better, but I wasn't sure what it was. And you helped me to figure out, what I needed to work on. So yeah, that was pretty big for me. So I appreciate you for that.
Oh, absolutely. Like just that's literally going back to what I was talking about. It's like, it never hurts to give, love, to show appreciation to things that you actually support. And then, like, if you want to see them go even further, there's, like, it's simple. Just giving some simple advice. It's like, yeah, maybe you could, add music to the background or, like, simple things like that. And they're like, oh, that's what you mean. And it's just all a simple dialogue. That's all it is.
It's like if you hear someone's music and they're close to you and it might be trash, or there might be some things that you could have done better as like a casual music listener, then I mean, obviously you're gonna take a listen because they're the consumer, right? They're probably gonna know what people like, and I mean, what you like, but as artists or as content creators, sometimes you don't realize when your content is bad. So an outside look on the inside is sometimes the best.
Exactly. Like, you're always gonna be your own harshest critic to begin with. Especially like for people who, record and edit podcasts, because I'm not gonna lie, I hate listening to my voice. When I'm editing, I hate it with a burning passion. And so whenever I play it back, I'm like, this shit sounds nasty. I don't think it's gonna pop off the way I think it is. And then people message me saying, like, yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. Your voice is great. It's energetic. And I'm like, oh shit, people actually genuinely enjoy it. And it's just all that dialogue from there. It brightens everyone's day.
Yeah, it's not hard, guys. It's really not hard, It's a message, a tweet, a this or that. It goes a long way at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Like, honestly. Are there any plans that you have going forward with the podcast? I know you said that, you kind of have it on hiatus, like on some Hunter x Hunter type beat right now, but like...
Oh, yeah. It's been gone for a minute, yeah. I didn't even notice how long it was gone until the other day. I had a friend go get a haircut, and his barber was like, "Yo, what happened to the podcast?" Because they apparently listened to it at their barbershop. So I was like, "Yo, that's like crazy,
dope."
So I was like, "Damn, I didn't even realize it's been so long since I dropped an episode." And I was thinking of doing like a solo dolo thing, but maybe with the right topic, I might get back to it. But I think in due time, I'm pretty sure this summer, I'll definitely get back into it, and hopefully things will, people are getting their vaccines, and things are opening up soon. Hopefully after the lockdown, we'll get back into it for sure.
Honestly, the way Jason Kenney has been rolling this shit out for COVID in general,
he gotta go, bro.
I'm so sick and tired, bro. Like, I knew the moment he was elected, I'm like, yeah, Calgary's gonna go into a shithole. And lo and behold, I was proven right, unfortunately. Like,
it just doesn't make sense as to why would we go into lockdowns with the malls still? Like, we could have avoided all of this, like everything, if the initial lockdown literally closed everything, right?
Thank you. I've been saying that for so... Like, if we took this shit seriously from the beginning, I promise you we wouldn't even be nearly in the situation that we're in right now. And it's ridiculous.
There wouldn't be gyms closing. There wouldn't be restaurants closing down for good. We would have had a lot more time to prepare and get ready, even with the vaccines coming in. Going back into lockdown, you can't go back into lockdown with malls still open at what, like 10% capacity? That doesn't make sense,
Like, chances are you're probably not going to be shopping at the mall for anything essential. Like, if you're going to the mall, you're going there just for like non-essential business. So like, maximum that things that should be open are like thrift stores, because like, they're mainly for those who are less fortunate than us. Not to say that we're all super fortunate, but like those who are, hard on money. Yeah, exactly. So like thrift stores and like, basic essential places that are actually essential make sense for them to be open.
Stores,
exactly,
gas,
exactly.
Like the actual essential needs, a mall, it doesn't make sense for a mall to be open with the highest cases in all of North America, Canada and USA. It just doesn't make sense.
Actually ridiculous, bro. Like, I'm gonna be talking mainly as like a person who owns like a family business, like as a restaurant owner. Right. Like, the fact that we have to open up and close and then open again and then close again, it's like there's no continuity. How can we plan for any of this shit? Like, at all? Like, I remember when we first had to close down the restaurant back in March of last year. So it's been more than a year at this point. So we closed down the restaurant for like 10 days when things were actually like first going off. So we closed it for 10 days, and then we had to open up, but we had to change our hours. It was only takeout and delivery. And we're like, well, fuck, like, this is messed up. And so what we decided to do, because we knew people were like down bad, like, economically, and, we've been in the restaurant, like in the community for about almost 25 years at this point. We're like, okay, what we want to do is like, we want to give back to the community, because we know people who are going, through hard times right now. So about every Wednesday for about a month or so, from like 12 till 4, what we did was we had like a steam table set up, and people could come in, obviously be blocked off at the door, but they'd be asking for like either a mixed, like a meat and veggie platter, or, just a veggie platter, and we give it to them for free. And like, some people who couldn't, come down to the restaurant to pick it up, my dad or my brother would actually go to their apartment or house to actually go drop it off for them.
Wow, really?
Oh yeah. And we would love to do it again, but the problem is the way that COVID has been hitting like small businesses in general makes it so then doing small things like that, you can't afford it. And it sucks ass, because we love giving back to the community, but it's just like there's no money for it, there's no inventory for it. It's ridiculous. And I remember
there's a lot of things that shit's fucked up.
Like, I remember when things were opening up again, like March 8th of this year?
Yeah.
Bro, we did not know any of that was going to happen until the day before, until the announcement came out. like we were watching the news as a family, and all of a sudden we see that from the press conference, and we're like, wait, what? And it was like we didn't get any time ahead to prepare. Like if they messaged us probably a week beforehand with those like notions, like, yeah, we're planning on doing this. Please make sure that you're all prepared to go, and the necessary precautions. Then we're like, okay, then we can prepare for that. But the problem was we found out the same time as everyone else finding out, and that throws that we have to buy drinks again because we don't really sell drinks besides pop and stuff for takeout and shit. And so now we have to restock on inventory in terms of drinks. We have to buy even more inventory for food because we're buying enough for just takeout. Then we have to account for people dining in at the same time. And then you also have to account for, people with COVID, making sure people have masks and like no mask. And it's such a hassle dealing with this provincial government because they don't tell you shit. At this point, the guidelines mean nothing because you see people going to a whole fucking rodeo in Alberta.
Oh, I seen that on Instagram, actually.
It's so ridiculous because it's like, and they say, and their notion is like, oh yeah, we love small businesses, we want them to open up. Okay, sure, fine, you can do that. But the problem is, you're the reason why we are closed. Like, if you followed the guidelines, we could have been opened up at a much sooner day, opening up to more people because chances are more people would be safe with it. And as a result, like, most of the businesses down on 10th Street where the restaurant is aren't going down under. It's ridiculous. My bad for going on a rant, but it still pisses me off to this day.
It's understandable because there's a lot of frustrations that people have gone through, and the government just they don't understand what the normal people have to kind of go through, like people who have the small businesses and the people who like there's a gym a couple of my friends go to that had to close down just because we went into like 4 lockdowns, 4 or 5 maybe even more,
right?
And it's sad to see that the government isn't really even listening to what people have to say. And just see numbers rise. All right, guys, we're gonna go back, same guidelines, and then we'll open up again, and that's it.
It's ridiculous. Like, honestly, if we took, like, for example, you see Australia and New Zealand, they're having whole rugby games, they're having concerts,
stadiums are filled, man.
It's filled. Like, even Wuhan, like the place that it originated, are having concerts again with full capacity. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like, no disrespect to China whatsoever. They actually handled the virus like correctly. Like, everything was shut down. It was military was giving out food and shit. But now, like, of course you're harming, like, you're what's it called? Like, you're going against, a little bit of the constitutional rights where it's like, freedom of, moving around and stuff. But some things have to be pushed around. Like, some rules have to be bent in order for the safety and well-being of everyone, right? Because you don't want a whole virus enveloping your entire country and then spreading around to other countries as well. That's a whole international crisis that no one wants to deal with.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, countries in like North America are ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous.
It's just a sacrifice that should have been made, honestly. If it were me, let me think like a government official. Once CERB came out, bro, I would have just put everybody in the crib. If CERB's out, I'm putting everybody in the crib except for essential workers, right? And they're getting like their pay at probably like a higher rate just due to the fact that they're working at a time that is very tough for a lot of people. And then lock it down for a month and then come out like you got money, you got this, you got that. No, I'm not a government. I don't know how the money works. I don't know how the taxes is gonna work. Personally, that doesn't matter to me, but that's just how I would do it.
Like, I would never want to be in a position of like Jason Kenney or Trudeau at this moment because that's going to be way too complicated to deal with, the financial repercussions, dealing with citizen unrest and stuff like that. I would hate to be in that position. But at the same time, it's like the answers are really clear, but they're trying to avoid it for the sake of, them being reelected. And that's all politics is. It's a 2-step process. You get power and you stay in power.
And Kenny's gone, though. Kenny's gone. If the young people actually vote, like if we actually vote, Kenny's gone, bro.
That's the problem with Alberta. Because Alberta is full of, it's pretty much like the Texas of Canada. And it's full of conservatives. And the problem is that the NDP haven't really done anything for the most part. And the Liberals are way too weak to be even thought of to be elected in this province. So it's like, if you think about it, it's either the conservatives or who else? There used to be the Wild Rose Party, but they merged with the Conservative Party. So it's like, what can you do? The conservatives have been in power for like what, 50 or so years, probably more at this point. It's ridiculous. And it's like, and the same thing applies to how they deal with like oil and gas as well. Because it's like, we could have moved on from oil and gas and not been in this situation decades ago. But the problem is that since oil and gas gives such a short-term monetary value, it's like such a high amount of money that you'd be getting, but that's only in terms of the short term. What we could have done is like probably decades ago, we could have started slowly weaning ourselves off of oil and gas and start enveloping ourselves into like renewable resources, like, you know, solar power, wind turbines, you know, dams, geothermal energy, and like slowly but surely wean ourselves off of oil and gas, which not only helps us monetarily because those are better investments in the long term, because oil and gas is like, it's a non-renewable resource. It's just going to run out at some point. So that's not only going to help us out financially, but at the same time, it's going to help us out in the climate change department. And yes, Alberta is one of the worst in that department. They say, oh yeah, all of our shit is clean. It's no problem with it. Bullshit. We all know anytime you're involving anything with oil and gas, there's definitely going to be harm to the environment. Always. Always.
It's what our province was built on, you know, the whole economy.
And that's the problem. Like, Alberta itself is too traditionalist in its values, where they're too dug deep into their mindset and like, oh yeah, this is tradition, this is what we've always done, and it will never change. Sure, okay, it won't change, but everyone's gonna get fucked as a result of it. So you choose. Either you change and everyone's lives get better. It might be hard for like the first, you know, couple years or so, but in the long term, it'll be huge investment payoff. But if you're going to stick with oil and gas, it's just going to, as you see with like the economy now, like it was already tanking even before COVID. And it's like, it's ridiculous, bro. It's some bullshit.
It's tough to even think about because it's so much that goes on behind the scenes that even like regular people might not be seeing on the news. And there's not a lot that we can do, but it's all in the hands of the government officials.
And it's like, why are they pushing major issues? Like, they could have solved this in their own generation, but the problem is with each generation, they just shove their issues to the next one. It's like, yeah, we'll just handle all of our money now, but you know, you'll get all of the issues. Where the whole mindset of being in politics is like, we will solve the issues now, so then you don't have to deal with as many issues for the next generation, and so on and so forth. That's what politics should be, in my idea. But the problem is, in politics, you know, reality-wise, it's bullshit. They're only there for themselves. You'll probably see, it's a rare breed of politicians where they're actually caring for their, you know, their citizens and actually being a representative of the country. Most of the time, they're just in it for themselves and the money. That's it, and the connections as well. Because politics, you have to have so many connections to get into it, and it's ridiculous.
No, there's a reason why a lot of officials or government clientele are caught in like scandals where they're using tax money to go on vacations with their families or buying houses with tax dollars. It's sad.
It's sad. That's the problem with it. It's like, I don't want to keep on talking about, you know, politics because this episode is mainly about you. But
no, I've just been thinking, man. It's understandable at the end of the day.
Because like, it's just, it envelops literally everything in the world, right? So it's like, politics is power, they say. So it's like, it's bullshit. But I mean, we have to handle it at some point, you know.
Hopefully everything gets resolved soon.
Hopefully, because I'm so sick and tired of being at work every day, bro. I'm just trying to see my niggas again. Bro,
yeah, it's been a while actually, bro.
I'm so tired, bro. It's the same thing. Wake up, work, go back to home, and that's it every day. I'm like, yo, let me just sleep. Let me at least see one of my friends in person. And I think that kind of plays into, you know, how you want to do with the podcast, where it's so much easier having like a connection in person. Because yeah, you can do what we're doing like over Zoom or whatever, right? But it's never going to be the same as, you know, talking in person. You can see how they're reacting, seeing things like that. And then it's more genuine. It's more authentic, in my opinion.
No, you hit it spot on. That's exactly the whole point of it. To just be in the moment. You know what I mean?
And it's like, that's what that's what I wanted to do. I had a couple episodes lined up where I would meet with a couple of friends, we discuss, and then, have fun from there. But the problem was COVID was taking such a bad turn where it's like, I don't think it's safe. So now people have to find different alternatives and Zoom, Zencaster, things of that nature. And it's like, yeah, it works, but it's never going to be the same. It's never going to be the same.
It's sad. It's sad to think about.
I know, bro. I know. Oh, moving on from that though. How do you write down what you want to write, what you want to do for your episodes, in terms of the podcast?
For the podcast, what mainly it goes with the title. Everything goes. So if one day I was just chilling, watching a TV show, or I was working on something, and a thought popped into my head, I would literally just write it down. And the thing with the podcast is it would take me a while to actually get the episode out, because I would take so many takes just to see what sounded best, because I wouldn't take notes. It was mainly just the idea, and I wanted it to be free flow almost, I didn't want it to be as if I had a schedule planned, but sometimes you do need to have that. But for the most part, I wanted things to be free flow and kind of just off the dome and to sound as natural as possible.
That's exactly how I do my podcast, bro. Because I hate, the only things I'll ever write down are my introduction, what I did at the beginning, that intro bullshit that I was talking about. That's the only, that and the outro are the only things I write down. Maybe I'll have a couple of jot notes that I might have for specific episodes that I want to, hit on specifically. But besides that, it's I hate feeling forced into something that's not me. I'm really free flow, off the dome type of person where it's and that as a result makes it a lot easier to get into conversations. You get to see how people really are, their authentic self. Where if you're just writing down, certain things and sending them their, questions, then they have time to, come up with a response and they write it down, make sure it's as, safe as possible. And of course that's okay, but the problem is that, especially with my podcast, I want to make it to where I see you for who you are. I don't want to see, your PR team or just general, typing out some bullshit. I want to see you, your answer.
No, that makes sense. I think even with the way I would have handled it in a group podcast setting, you want to just get the person. So you want to get every single person's point of view and not just go from this topic to that topic, and you want it to be as smooth as possible to really see how someone might think, So to just start off with one thing and let that be the base, and let whatever ideas, whatever happens essentially,
Exactly. So I also want to touch on, I remember you tweeted out earlier saying yo, streets ain't ready for when I drop music. And I was like, oh shit, I want to hear this. And then you actually started to drop music. And bro, your music is clean as fuck, my nigga. I ain't gonna cap, I ain't gonna hold you. That shit cold, bro.
I'm so low, and right now I can't stand the thought of you, oh girl. Come and get high off my supply. Oh girl, why you getting shy? I don't even want you, I don't even need you.
I would say it's okay, but I actually I really do appreciate the love, because I mean, not a lot of people, again, it's when you're in early stages with a lot of things, you're not gonna get a lot of listens or a lot of people listening,
right?
So it's kind of just a certain amount of people who are actually listening to this shit, but nonetheless, it's been good feedback for the most part, and I understand where I make my mistakes and this and that, because with music it's subjective, right? With a lot of things it's subjective, and I needed to realize that things that might sound good to me might not sound good to everybody, and I even noticed that certain things that sounded good to me, after I took a certain amount of listens to it, it didn't sound the first track I ever dropped. When I finished it with adding everything that I did, the harmonies and trying to get that Frank Ocean sound, because the idea I got from that was literally I looked up type beat, right, and the first one that had popped up was a Frank Ocean one, so I took the idea to make a Frank Ocean song. So
right.
I took the inspirations from like Blonde, what I had been listening to for like the whole summer for some reason, I don't know why.
Bro, that album, yo, that shit hits, bro.
Yeah, it's so good, yet sometimes it makes you feel like emotions you might not like want to feel, you know?
Right? Like, bro, I just be chilling and all of a sudden I just hear what's it called? Siegfried? Bro, I'm out of it immediately. I'm like, fuck.
It's a beautiful album. It's honestly phenomenal. I miss Frank Ocean so much.
Bro, I want him to drop. I remember I think he dropped, what was it? Dear April, I think in 2020. Bro, that shit broke me. I heard that shit. I'm like, nah.
Yeah, I think he dropped Callando as well at the same time, or around the same time.
I think it was around the same time, bro.
Yeah.
This nigga does not miss. Frank Ocean, bro. Oh my lord.
No, he does a great job at like expressing. I don't know, like you can listen to lyrics, right? And a lot of the times artists will put a lot into their lyrics and you can understand it like off face value. But with Frank, for me personally, it takes a while to really understand like where he's kind of coming from, you know, because even a lot of the lyrics you listen to it and you're like, what the fuck is he saying? But it sounds so cool, right?
Oh yeah, it's like some people have like those ability where they're singing and you're not really paying attention to what they're saying. It's just how they sound, and then you go back and you listen to it again and you're like, oh, he was talking about this. Oh fuck, and it just hits in a completely different way.
Yeah, and he has a certain way of doing that, and I really fucked with it heavy. So with that first track, what I wanted to do was kind of just implement that. And the first verse, when I had got it down in my head, of course it sounded cool, and listening back now, because obviously it's been like maybe 2-3 months and I've obviously evolved and I found my own sound. I can look back and say, yeah, I want to remake this. I know where I did wrong. I know what I could do better.
And that's just the evolution of everything, right?
Yeah.
Like you always start out and then like you go back to it like months later and you're like, man, this shit sounded ass. Well, not to say that yours sounded ass. Yours still sounds great.
Cool.
Like,
I would prefer if people are honest, you know.
I am being honest. Like I actually genuinely enjoyed it. Like my thing is with music is like I really don't like things when things are offbeat. Like unless it flows nicely with it, but like most of the time it doesn't, in my opinion. So like when you went off beat for a little bit, I was like, and then you went back on beat. I was like, okay, now this shit is hidden again. Yeah. That's literally the only thing that I have to negative against your music. But like that was only one song.
Myself. Yeah, I even noticed it myself. I was like, the thing with music is it's been a part of my life since I was young, and it was always something that I wanted to do. But I wasn't that person who like could just make a song. And like I've never been good at expressing myself, you know. So when in 2020, when I started to feel like a lot more comfortable with expressing myself and being myself, and shout out to my friend Ken as well. He like his music as well, and him being a big motivator to just kind of do what the fuck ever you want. I just took initiative and was like, fuck it, you know, what's the worst that could happen? I'm just doing it for myself at this point. You know, if people want to come along on the journey or not, it's fine by me. But it was just to express myself. And finally, as time went on, I found my own sound. So with first track, right, it was Frank Ocean. And then it went on, and I was like, okay, this is like a Drake flow. Okay, this is. I literally went by the type beat it said too. So if there was like a Drake type beat, I went by that, and I had like a Sheck West type beat, and I went on and went on and won. And like the past 3 or 4 drops, I would say, I actually found my own sound, which I think is probably like the most difficult part of like being anything, like a gamer, an artist, because you always want to model yourself after other people or people you look up to.
Oh,
That's the best thing
absolutely.
you can do is literally just be yourself.
And I actually love that mindset that you had where you and Ken, you were like, nah, fuck what other people say. This is what I want to do. God help me if people don't love it, but like, this is what I want to do. And that's
Yeah.
kind of the motivation that I've had for the podcast here as well. Where it's like the subjects that I cover, it's like really, it seems really random. There's not like a real clear focus of my podcast, but that's generally because I hate feeling confined to like only talking about one thing. Like, for example, I'm a big basketball fan, right? But I hate always talking about that specific thing just because I know I'm going to run out of topics, right? Because there's going to be the off season and nothing happens there.
Right.
And so I hate feeling forced to put out content that I don't want. So that's why like the first episode of the podcast, I put out like me talking about how shitty it is to be an OKC fan. And damn. But
I remember that episode actually.
nigga, fuck you and your Blazers, bro. I'm still pissed.
Bro, I mean, the rivalry isn't really there anymore with Russell gone, but I mean,
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock, but
hey man, we're just looking forward to taking out the Clippers and moving on, bro. That's it.
yo, streets need them Clippers gone, bro. I need to push my Paul George being garbage agenda again. That shit
I
is
need
way
that
too
back,
funny.
bro. I need that back.
You put money on it?
I need that back in general, bro. Like
Okay.
like I haven't heard PG slander in a minute because he's been balling. No
Bro, I know, and I'm like, yo, shout out to my nigga ASAP on Twitter, bro. This nigga has been pushing the Paul George for MVP agenda for Lord knows how long. Oh my lord.
That's
And I
loyalty
see it.
right there. That's real loyalty right there.
Bro, he's been saying this shit from time. Like, I'm talking about, like, since, what was it, first season of the Clippers, where he wasn't really doing that well. And then you see him in the playoffs, and you're like, oh, now we gotta push the anti-PG agenda. And now this nigga is hooping, and I'm like, well, fuck, now, where's my agenda now?
Yeah, like, what can we do now? But I mean, we'll see the real Paul George when playoffs come, because the pandemic playoff we all know is a terrible fucking player, a terrible player.
Bro,
So,
I heard a niggas call him pandemic piss. I cried in tears, bro.
it's actually so sad, bro. Like, I honestly feel bad talking shit about him like that, but it's like at the end of the day, it's just basketball. I'm not talking about shit about him like the person.
No. Like, I hate it. Like, for example, Lakers fans, they were going in on Danny Green in the finals. And of course, I'm all for Danny Green
I was
slander.
too, bro. I
But
can't
here's
even
the-
cap.
Oh, no. I'm not even saying that's bad. Everyone loves slander. I do too. But the problem is some niggas were threatening his life. And I'm like, listen, it's just a sport. It's not affecting you that bad.
Yeah.
Like, relax. Like, niggas were threatening his life, his family's life. I'm like, yo, not everything is that deep.
People have been taking it too far lately. Like, I don't. People feel a lot more comfortable with just shit talking people to like an extreme on the internet now. Like, it's not even just casual. It's like, okay, bro, like, you don't make the shot, your mom should die. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Exactly. I'm telling you, bro, people feel so comfortable the moment that their face and name are not on their Twitter ad. Like,
Yeah.
the moment that's the case, they're just an unknown to everyone. And as a result, they're like, yeah, I can do this. But niggas always forget that they can track your IP address. Like, they can find out who you are. Easy.
Exactly. These people just don't care enough, though. Like, they make millions of dollars. They do what they want for a living. Like, you're at like the bottom of the food chain for them, honestly.
Like, the way
Like, you're
LeBron has
watching
handled
them
that shit.
and shit talking them. So
Absolutely.
they're winning
And
at
it's
the
like,
end of the day.
yeah, they're making the money. Them and the NBA are making money at the end of the day. What you're doing right now means nothing to them. And like the way LeBron has handled, especially LeBron, I'm gonna say, has handled, criticisms and all of these stupid ass takes about him on Twitter, Instagram, shit like that. It's actually really impressive because a nigga like me would go all KD on him. Like I'd make burners. Oh, I'm shit talking regardless. But like how LeBron has handled it is like the ideal version. But of course, not everyone is like that. So of course, you want to love shit talking back. So I'm more like KD in that situation. But ideally, we should be like LeBron.
No, I don't know how he does it. But that's why he's the GOAT. I've never seen well, there's probably many other like advocates as well, but he is one of like the biggest athletes out there still speaking on shit and not being afraid to speak his mind, which is crazy, regardless of what everyone's saying about him. And he makes like headlines on the news channels where they're telling him to shut up and play basketball, which is crazy.
See, my thing is with LeBron, it's like I love how he talks about social issues, but like I remember when the whole China situation went down, when they were talking about the Hong Kong protest, and LeBron really didn't want to say anything. I think he even told Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey was the one who started that whole situation in terms of the NBA in China, and I think LeBron told him to like be quiet or something like that. I can't remember specifically, but I was like, I mean, you probably could have said something, especially with your platform. You kind of fed more into the Chinese government's agenda right there. So a whole lot of people were not necessarily making fun of him, but like rightfully criticizing him for that. So I'm like, yeah, that's fair. And he came out later on saying like, yeah, I'm not gonna speak out on things that I don't know on. And I'm like, that's fair, but like with the platform that you have, it's like, of course you're not obligated to speak about it, but with your type of platform, it would be beneficial,
No, yeah. I'm just assuming he probably didn't want to sound like stupid, I guess. Just because I guess it's not on a bigger stage necessarily, but the issue is bigger than what it seems with the Chinese government and say the US government. Say they go into something that happens just because he says something on the internet, I don't know, maybe he was just looking out for himself, possibly.
I think he might have been looking out for himself just, as a part of that, just because he is partnered with Nike, and Nike has a huge part in China and like, sweatshops and things like that. So a lot of people took it to where he was defending, Nike and like, just trying to protect his brand pretty much. And I'm like, okay, I get that. But at the same time, it's like he could have done more is all I'm trying to say. Like, I remember one of my niggas, Bolu, on Twitter, he was mentioning that as well. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, like, of course he's not obligated to speak about it, but like, it's always better to speak about it. It doesn't hurt you, and it's just bringing more awareness to people, especially with such a large platform that you have, So it's kind of similar
it's understandable.
It's like how I remember seeing someone talk about it where it's like you're either silent on all social issues like Michael Jordan, or you have to talk about every social issue. And I'm like, there's no way that you can speak on every issue in the world because A, that's going to be taxing on your mental health, and B, that's probably impossible to do. So that's why most people try and talk about things that are relative to them or things that they know of in their retrospective area, which I understand. But it's like at the same time, you want to reach out to more, but it's just like there's so much shit going on in the world where it's like you can't reach out all at the same time.
Yeah, I don't even think honestly you need to be super, like, it's good to be vocal. But just with the way social media is right now, like, it's difficult to not see anything.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
It's not hard. So as long as you're able to like kind of like think about these things on your own and maybe talk about it with your parents or your close friends, you don't need to be super vocal or tell social media 100% of how you feel, or unless you're super involved or the issue really matters to you, then by all means go ahead. But I think that's probably the way I would look at it, to just if need be, I'll go out of my way to make things known to everybody when it really matters. But again, talking about every social issue, it just takes a toll on your mental health, and you kind of forget about yourself too. I mean, all these people are going through their own hardships, which fucking sucks, bro. Like, free Palestine. Still we need justice for so many things that are going on across the world. Indian farmers. It's a lot that's going on, but at the end of the day, if you aren't taking care of yourself, you're not doing anybody justice.
Exactly. Like, you want to reach out to as many people as possible, but like the first person that you should focus on is yourself. Because like, and not to sound like narcissistic or anything, but it's like if you can't better yourself mental health wise, and it's like how can you reach out and help out other people in the area and like around the world, because the things that they're going through is only going to harm your mental health. It was like, yeah, they're going through so much shit, my shit doesn't even compare to what they're going through, and it's just a negative toll on both ends.
You just wouldn't know how to handle it.
Exactly. That's what I mean to say. So speaking about vocals, like my segue here, but speaking about vocals, tell me a little bit of like what's your inspiration for music? Like, any artists in particular that you aspire to be like in terms of how you sing, how you portray yourself in terms of music?
Really right now, I'm just trying to find myself, but I'd say in general, I really like Rex Orange County.
Mm-hmm.
He has like a really raspy voice, which is soft, but he can like, I don't know, he has notes that sound so full and sound amazing.
So kind of
To the
like
songs that he makes.
some who am I thinking about? Like Domo Genesis, some Anderson .Paak type of beat.
Yeah, almost, yeah, pretty much.
Got
And
you, got you.
but I'm a guy who's like genreless, so I can listen to anything and really appreciate it all. And so like I'll always want to do like a little bit of rap
Mhm.
or some maybe some like Kid Cudi humming for like a whole song or some shit. You know what I mean? It's just the ideas are endless. But I'd say Rex Orange. Mm, I have to go with Drake as well.
Oh, of course, it's Drizzy
Uh,
Drake.
it's
You know the
Drizzy. It's
vibes. Of
Drizzy.
course,
Where's
of
the album
course,
though? Hold on.
bro.
Where's the album?
Yo, nigga, I've been asking this since January. This nigga said, yo, January 1st, 2020, certified lover boy. I'm like, yo, say less. And then that shit, it's May now, my nigga, and it's not even here. I'm like, yo, come on,
You know what?
dog.
He's smart though. I know what he's doing. He's gonna drop it in the summer,
Oh,
and then it's gonna go
absolutely.
number one billboards.
Nigga, I'm telling you for the fact, Drake always drops in the summer, and he always has songs for the summer that take over the entire summer area.
Nah, he's a
Every
genius. He's a
time.
genius. I'm not even gonna lie. He's a genius.
Hey man, no Drake slander allowed here, bro. Only time I've
Uh,
ever slandered Drake is when Pusha T dissed him. That's literally the only time. Cause like, damn nigga, you gonna let him expose you like that? Damn.
I don't know what he was gonna say because what Drake said he was gonna say something that was out of character to him and shit like that.
Yeah, he was saying like, oh yeah, the shit that I would have said would have made people lose their jobs, break up their
Yeah.
families. I'm like, nigga,
So
drop the album then, drop the song. I want to hear this.
I wanted that too, but it's like Drake's not that type of person. Like we've never seen Drake as that guy though. You know what I mean?
True.
If you think about it, we've never seen Drake as that type of guy. If anything, he had his beef with Meek Mill. It didn't go too deep. Sure, he talked about like Nicki and whatnot or whatever, but it was
Shit was
just
way too funny too. Oh my lord.
yeah.
Oh.
If you think about their beef compared to Pusha's beef, they were getting into talking about wives, families, kids. 40 having an illness.
That's
you know?
right. Yeah.
So it's like it's two different levels to look at it, and I've just never seen Drake as that guy, and I don't blame him for it, but I would have liked to hear it. Though.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I don't blame you for not posting it, but like Streets would have loved to hear that. Just like maybe leak it on SoundCloud, just for a day,
Yeah.
and then we would love to hear it. Oh man.
Yeah.
But,
Other than Drake, I really like Magic. Honestly, like all majority of OVO is like fucking insane.
mhm.
And Travis Scott as well. As of recently, I've been starting to love auto tune in like a different way,
Mhm.
and I'm not really using it in like a Travis Scott way, but the way he uses it is fucking insane. He's like one of the greatest artists like ever, bro. Honestly,
I want to say ever, but I would probably say like of our current generation, yeah, he's definitely up there. He's for
I
sure.
think he
up
will be like ever, bro. Because if you think about it, he doesn't make bad music. One, right?
there. True.
Two, his concerts are always lit.
Bro,
Right?
Astroworld, oh my lord, that shit looks fucking gas.
Bro, I wish I got a ticket, bro. But I woke up late to the fucking sale, so I couldn't even get it.
Oh,
Maybe I'll get like a
that's tough.
resale ticket online or something. But so yeah, two, he's like concerts are lit.
Mhm.
Three, he's like the craziest entrepreneur ever, bro. Like Fortnite deal,
Bro.
PS4 deal, McDonald's deal. I've never seen that shit
This
until
nigga
now.
has his own beer, like his own type of alcohol. I'm like, yo, this nigga
Yeah.
is actually a business Mongol. Or
To
mogul,
be
that's
honest,
the
bro,
word.
like soon enough he'll probably be like Jay-Z level, just the way he's like he's literally for the people, man. Like
Oh,
he's just
absolutely. Yeah.
he's that guy, He's the like how Jay-Z has the older generation, he's that for our generation, I would say almost.
In terms of like business or in terms of music? Because in business, I completely agree. But music,
they
it's a
make
little different.
they make two different sounds, They make different music, right?
Yeah.
Not everyone's gonna make the same music, and I'm not gonna say he makes Jay-Z level music because Jay-Z likes to talk about business again or his family or rich nigga shit,
Of course, yeah.
So I'd say probably as like just being like a mogul in his own way.
Got you, got you. Are there any plans that you want to take with your music going forward?
Um, Plans at could you be more specific?
Oh yeah. Like, are you planning on like reaching out, like probably posting it on Spotify, Apple Music? Are you planning on
yeah.
going forward like a music career as well as doing podcasting, or is it just like music is just going to be like on the side type of thing?
If anything, it would probably be the podcast would be the side thing, but it's like the biggest thing that I'd have going for me right now.
Right, right.
But in I think June or July, hopefully I'm gonna be working with a couple people from the city to get like things rolling and like a professional studio so we can get shit on Spotify and actually reach a bigger audience. But
See,
yeah, I think that's the best plan.
I heard that they were making like there's a couple of people that I follow on Twitter. I don't know how to pronounce their name, but it's like XOCHIO official or something like that.
Oh,
I don't...
from SAD Entertainment.
Yes,
or SAD
them.
Entertainment, yeah.
And I heard that they were building a whole new like what's it called? A commercial music space.
Yeah.
Right by McLeod, like right by Chinook Mall. And I'm
yeah.
Now that I think about it, Calgary really doesn't have those type of places. Like LA, Toronto, those places are everywhere. Probably even in Vancouver as well.
Yeah.
But
Calgary, you probably need to know the person beforehand, like before this. But with these guys, they kind of just want to be open to everyone, any creative who wants to just be out there.
Yeah, so I think they're opening it up for like music, for podcasting. I think they also said for photography as well. I'm not too sure about that third one, but I know for sure music, like recording music and then recording podcasts, that they're setting up like, soundproof rooms, music studios, and they're getting like professional, software engineers and shit. I'm like, if that's the case, I might go there like to record episodes because like right now I'm in the basement of my restaurant. So if I can get like
works, but I mean, if the opportunity arises, then it's like it's an opportunity for everybody to be involved and kind of just better yourselves and better your content, right?
Oh, absolutely. But besides that, I mean, yeah, I think I pretty much covered everything that I wanted to talk about. Do you have anything that you want to talk about? Shout yourself out right now. Anything that you have going on in the future?
Hey guys, make money, man. Make money right now. Make money. Now's the time to make money in any way possible. There's so many outlets. Even me, like, I'm not even gonna lie, like I haven't had a job for like 2 years now, but because of the information that I gathered and the people I kind of follow, I've been able to put myself in a situation where I probably won't need a job ever again if I continue the things that I'm doing. So whatever it is, whatever you're doing, if you want to pursue it as a passion, go for it. You gotta like 100% it. Don't half-ass it. If it's really what you want, then you gotta 100% it. If you really want to make it in the business or just to make money in general, or if you just love to do it, don't let what anybody else says get in the way of your dreams. So yeah.
Hey man, you preaching to the choir on that one. But yeah, you can find Godwin on his Everything Goes podcast. It's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor as well, which is, big shout out to Anchor. We both using that audio software.
Big shout outs to Anchor. Hey, sorry.
No, go ahead.
But Anchor, I need my money. Please make me withdraw in Canada. Please and thank you.
Bro, I'm so sick and tired of that shit, bro. Oh my lord. I was trying to find out how to get like sponsorships for Anchor, right? And they're like, yeah. It's US only. I'm like, my nigga, we are next door. It's not that hard.
I know. It's difficult, but hopefully, I think it's already in the works to get it to move up here, but the sooner the better, because
I need my
a lot of people
money,
are making podcasts, man. It's just more money for them at the end of the day, so I don't know what they're waiting for.
Oh God, I'm like, anyway, so annoying, but anyways, you can find Godwin on the Everything Goes podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor as well. I don't know, are you on any other platforms as well?
I think is there one called Overcast?
Yeah, Overcast.
Yeah, I think Overcast as well.
Yeah, you can find Godwin on all of those platforms. I'll also link his Spotify and his Apple Podcasts in the links down below. I'll also give a link to his SoundCloud page as well, so y'all can stream it, check it out. Shit is nice. Chef's kiss on God.
Who does that? I know someone chef's kiss. Who does that?
I don't even know. I just saw it on YouTube. I think I just saw it somewhere. I'm like, oh, Timmy.
Oh, Timmy, yes.
Timmy, yeah.
Timmy, yeah. It's Timmy. I was like, I've seen this before. What the fuck?
Yeah, big shout out to Timmy, bro. Check out his stream. On God, too nice.
Yes, sir.
But hey, thank y'all for making it to the end of the episode. If you want to show love to the podcast, follow me on both Instagram at Most Wanted Podcast and Twitter at Most Wanted Pod to stay up to date on guest features, upload days, and more. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure you give a 5-star review and rating. You can also listen to the podcast on Spotify as well as on YouTube via the BrarHive channel, where not only you can find my podcast, but plenty of other top-notch material. Till next time, we out. Easy, y'all.